To say I created an identity for a rebellion is utterly incorrect. It was created by a team of us. There is nothing in this world that is created by individuals. Extinction Rebellion is the work of many people and many hands, and 5 particular pairs of hands went into it at the beginning. But we also worked with the broader movement and the broader ideas that were available to us at the time. For our influences, we looked back in time towards Paris '68, which was quite a successful revolution rather than a rebellion, where the art was at its centre. They had something called the Atelier Populaire, I think it was called, and they worked out of a little station in the middle of Paris. I was very lucky when I was younger to have met one of them, who at the time told me lots of stuff that I didn't act on at the time because I was too impetuous and young to realise how important it was. So we took their idea but then started to imagine it in the internet age. We were very clear about wanting to be able to reproduce what we did very easily and be able to reproduce it on the streets. And that was really, really important. And a lot of experimentation went into that. So we went off, found some wood type. We then digitized that wood type. That became the font that you see in Extinction Rebellion. We looked around, thought a bit, and there was the naming process as well. We are an Extinction Rebellion, but then also there's the Extinction symbol, which one of our group had seen many times, and I'd seen once in East London. We approached the creator of the symbol, who graciously allowed us to use it, which was wonderful. It was one thing we didn't have to design, and it was already known. But then we began to think about how can something be both of the present, the past, and the future. We didn't want to look like an eco-movement. It was really important that we didn't look like an eco-movement because basically they've all failed, totally failed. And one of the key things to do this was to not have a single colour, but have a set of colours. And those colours could also represent the multi-facets of an eco-movement. Because when you look at the eco-verse, if we can call it that, then you have a plethora of stuff from veganism through to sustainability. All of that had to come under this umbrella. We had to make an open space where anyone could join. And that was really, really important. And that has been one of the key points of success for Extinction Rebellion. It was that openness. But also that comes through in the messaging as well. Don't say obvious things like, switch off your light, or we're all gonna die from climate emergency change, and really long messages that won't fit on a banner. Think about inclusive messages like Rebel for Life. Things that make people think. People aren't actually stupid. I mean, so many times, with marketing, they talk down to people. People have had enough of being talked down to. It really isn't a good thing. And also it's really important to us for it not to be too hippie, because hippies think they're very inclusive, but actually the space they inhabit and the things they say are actually a long way away from the mainstream. Now, I'm not saying that hippies are bad people, because they're certainly not, and a lot of their ideas are really good, but the way their ideas are visualized are appalling. And so our movement had to be of now, future, and past. And so it had to be something completely new. A change movement differs from a political movement because we have a sole objective, and it's kind of in the name. It's to change things.
Like, my work's really flowering in this project. I mean, it's the same for a lot of us. And it's because we're all working really hard, with passion and love, for free or virtually nothing. And the work is, we're not trying to commodify it, so we're giving it away. And it's just kind of blossoming and expanding and growing and mutating. So it's kind of very interesting for me to see, this is my most, in terms of all that kind of success and all that stuff, this is, my work's just fucking going everywhere. It's amazing. And that's really interesting. And it's by mixing with other people. It's by being forced to do stuff really fast. The circumstances are propelling everything as well. And obviously the urgency is propelling us all. Every new climate report is making us look at the messaging, and then we argue about the messaging, and that influences what I draw, and then other people see the messaging and what I'm drawing, and they do other things. And we all go, fuck, have you seen that in Germany, what they're doing? And we go, that's a really good idea. And then that's going to inform what everyone else is doing across the world next week. That's what's going on. And there's another thing that's going on that's really interesting, is that by doing all this kind of handmade stuff in London, it's being not only copied, that's not the right word, it's being picked up by everybody else across the country and across the world on some level, and they're doing like similar things. And so I feel like there's this funny like arts and crafts movement going on of people printing in the street and making banners, and obviously this stuff's always happened before, but it seems to be happening in a kind of very cohesive, very not decorative, but very well, you know, Clive and Charlie, the design is really strong, the graphic design is really strong. Their use of like of my images is very strong, isn't it? And we talk about my images being successful, but they're only successful because I have this very strong relationship with Clive. Yeah, so I do a simple black and white image which gets, and that's the thing about woodcut, is it makes you do a really clear image in black and white. There's no grey, it's harsh. You have to know what you're doing, you can't rub it out, you're cutting with knives and chisels. So you decide what you're doing and you fucking do it. And we haven't got time as well, so I don't have time to do it twice. And then so I give a very clear image to Clive, and then that translates really well onto the internet. And he'll like layer them and colour them and play with them. And also Clive did a lot of letterpress, which is like block printing at college. So it kind of feeds the graphic design that I'm like printing stuff and I'm being spodgy and inky, and he'll see this. And then Clive teaches me about press and how fonts work and how all letters are different sizes, and then I ring him up and go, why the fuck is this like this? And he goes, oh, because like the Bauhaus did this stuff, and that's how you fucking do text, and it's all like this. So there's a lot of that going on. So I think it's very important to work collaboratively, but also it's good to be able to function on your own. But obviously at the moment it's all about all of us collaborating and everything being meshed together and a big creative soup. I sometimes think that if we'd known more about what was going to happen, we should have all become anonymous in the beginning, and then we'd just been a kind of art group and just not have any personal names or anything. Which those things are really interesting, is you take away money and then you take away authorship, and then what do you have? I mean, it becomes more playful, and you take away sort of vanity and things, maybe.